So, good afternoon, everyone. And as we are now, I think, running 1 hour behind schedule, I will try to keep my presentation brief, but it's a pleasure to presenting again this year at the Mekong Delta Conference. And I was asked by the organizers to provide, first of all, a little bit of background about what the Vision Zero Fund does. And so just to let you know, the Vision Zero Fund actually has been introducing the wind program in the coffee supply chain in Vietnam back in 2021, when we started working together with Mr. Kai on a series of wind trainings and also introducing the POUT methodology. And the Vision Zero Fund actually originated at a G7 meeting in 2015, where G7 leaders decided, still under the impact of the tragedy we saw in 2014 in Bangladesh when Rana Plaza collapsed, that more needs to be done to improve occupational safety and health in global supply chains. And so at this event, actually, the decision was taken to establish the fund, and with contributions since then from the European Union, from Germany, US Dole, France, but also now increasingly from the private sector. And in spite of all efforts, the need to address OSH issues in global supply chains still persists. So there is still a critical global need. And you see it is also, when you look at the figures on that slide, we have still almost 3 million workers that sadly die annually as a result of work-related factors. And actually almost 90% of deaths are actually caused by occupational diseases. And this is accompanied by a situation where 60% of the global workforce actually lacks social protection in terms of, being insured in case they suffer an occupational accident and disease, which makes this segment of the workforce especially vulnerable. So here you will see where the Vision Zero Fund works. As a global program, we have activities in Latin America, in Africa, and in Asia currently. And we started working in the coffee sector in 2018, actually in Lao PDR. So far we had projects in coffee in Lao PDR, then in Vietnam. And now we are also starting working in Indonesia to improve OSH in the coffee supply chain there. But we also had countries like Myanmar, or also activities in Mexico currently that work in agriculture and that also use the elements of the wind training program as we did in Lao PDR. But I must say, for the Asian countries, we had a very, let's say, serious approach to the wind training program and POUT methodology when we started our work in Vietnam. So the Vision Zero Fund has, since 2024, we have a new strategy, a new 4-year strategy, which focuses on promoting OSH as a fundamental principle and right at work, and also the importance of collective action to help workers realize their OSH rights. And we are having actually 3 strategic pillars, which include work at the national level, at global level, and also at regional level, where we aim to strengthen the enabling environments in countries or at regional level to develop an OSH culture through OSH knowledge generation, OSH knowledge dissemination, and partnerships. Then we are also working at the national level, at policy level, where we aim to support the strengthening of national OSH frameworks. And lastly, we do also a lot of work at the workplace level, where we work together with workers and employers to improve OSH improvement measures in the workplace and to develop OSH capacity. So improving OSH in agriculture is a priority for the Vision Zero Fund. And the main reason for this is, of course, we are having many agricultural sectors that are involved in global supply chains, but also we have a very high percentage of workers in the informal economy working in agriculture who lack protection. And they lack protection not only in terms of having limited or no access to occupational accident and injury, but also because they have usually, they lack OSH awareness and OSH knowledge because they have limited access to training. They often do hazardous work without any adequate protection. Then we are also, the fact that they are often in informal employment arrangements makes it difficult for them to realize the OSH rights through being organized, being a member of a union. In many countries, as we also heard from Yoshi earlier today, informal economies workers, they are organized, they get the support, but also we have many countries where it is difficult actually for them to do so. And then also in relation to Yoshi's presentation, we now have a high percentage of agricultural workers working outdoors due to the nature of the work they do. But this also exposes them to the impact of climate change on their safety and health at work, especially now when we look at the rising temperatures, which is leading to heat stress. And South Asia is very much affected, but we also saw this year in Vietnam, we had a prolonged heat wave. So, and given the fact that the informal economy workers in agriculture, they lack protection, they lack representation also, it will be in the future also a critical need to see what we can do to protect them better against the impact of climate change. Then also it is more difficult in the informal economy to ensure that when we improve OSH, that we also consider OSH needs in a gender responsive manner. And this is also an area where we need to do more work. And then also there's an overall lack of OSH data and the recording of occupational accidents, especially at the level of smallholder farms. And this also is an area of work that the Vision Zero Fund aims to support. So the wind training program has been very important for the Vision Zero Fund to promote OSH in agricultural supply chains in our various country activities. And this included also the adaptation of the wind training material to the needs of smallholder farms and coffee and plantation workers, including also the adaptation of the action checklist. And in Vietnam, we have done so in close collaboration with our partners in the coffee supply chain, of which many have also a professional background as agronomists. And this was really very helpful to develop adaptation that really respond to the needs in the coffee sector. So what we also did in Vietnam is that we introduced the wind training program to large group of diverse stakeholders. So we included government agencies, employer and worker organization, businesses, private and also public sector companies, cooperatives, NGOs, training institutes, and so on. They did not all become trainers, but they got a good understanding of what wind does, what it aims to achieve, and this helped us then later on to introduce the wind program and also roll it out in the coffee supply chain. So as part of our work, we redesigned the wind training rollout approach a little bit. Mr. Kai and also Mr. Tung from Nestle, they mentioned mini wind, I think, a couple of times. So we offered shorter training sessions because they respond better to farmers' needs. And we also, by using this mini wind out approach, we had a successful training rollout at the end of 2022, where we trained more than 150 farmers. They were trained by a pool of OSH trainers, and we recorded immediately or within the first 2 months after the training, quite a number, more than 340 workplace improvements. And I think that is also, that aligns with what Mr. Tung said earlier, that we see really quickly results after the training. So where farmers put in practice their learning, and when they see the results and when their efforts are appreciated, maybe through knowledge sharing platforms, this also motivates them further. Then I mentioned already that we trained a diverse group of stakeholders, which promoted a sector-wide increase in OSH awareness. And I think looking at the achievements in scaling, we were able to reach out to about 25,000 farmers. These are figures from earlier this year, and they were trained by trainers that actually were trained by the Vision Zero Fund, and had the initial training by Mr. Kai. And I think we can be very proud of that. And we see the good results through the presentations by Mr. Tung, Nestle, and also by TMT. And now coming to a few lessons learned. So we mentioned already the importance of the adaptation of the material, and what is maybe special, what we did in the coffee supply chain in Vietnam, we reorganized the sequence of the modules so that the modules are in line with the coffee cultivation steps within the annual coffee cultivation cycle. And this makes it easier to include OSH sessions in coffee cultivation trainings that are being implemented by maybe buyers, coffee buyers, or NGOs. But it also, helps farmers understand where actually, which OSH risks they have by doing their specific task as per cultivation cycle. And so this also relates to the training rollout practices, which were supported by these shorter training sessions, integration of OSH into other trainings on cultivation. And importantly, this was also lessons learned. We need to align our training delivery schedule to farmers' role responsibilities in the farm, and also regarding their family responsibilities. And this is very important when we want to increase the number of female participants in our training. And to me, most importantly, what promotes training rollout is a very strong commitment to OSH improvements, not only by the trainers, but also by the end beneficiaries. So this needs to go hand in hand. Regarding sustainability, we still face challenges when it comes to promoting the wind rollout through government agencies or also community organizations, because they face budget and also human resources constraints. But we really have now, I think, emerging good practices when we look at the capacity of supply chain structures. Mr. Tung, he spoke about it, but also when working with the pharma networks of NGOs. So this is really a very good mechanism, not only to roll out training, but also to monitor and document improvements later on. So and then lastly, I think it's also a very good practice and a good lesson learned that post-training, we have to continue engaging farmers through games, awards, photo competitions, because this not only motivates them, but also this strengthens their learning on OSH. And they may not really feel that they are still learning, because many activities are also quite entertaining, I believe. And I think it was also always important to have a continuation of the Zalo chat groups or maybe other social platforms that help farmers to stay engaged. So thank you very much. And I hope I didn't take too much of your time.